enable us to start to hear dolphins in an entirely new way.
Brilliant. You're brilliant.
Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan back here with another Venus sign video for you today, and we're doing the Venus in Gemini today. So I've made a Venus introduction video, links up above and the description box below, so you can watch that video and then come back to this one so you can kind of get an idea about what Venus is really doing in your chart. So if you're watching this and you have a Venus in Gemini, you could either have your sun in Gemini, in Taurus, in Aries, in Cancer, or in Leo. You can't have your sun in any of the other zodiac signs because Venus doesn't move more than 2 signs away from the sun. So this video will be divided into 4 parts. First, the kind of clothing style and mannerisms of the Venus in Gemini, and then the seduction style of the Venus in Gemini, and then what you're attracted to in another person if you have this Venus sign, and last but not least, the relationship and love style of the Venus in Gemini. So if you're a straight woman and you're watching this, the parts that will apply to you will be the clothing style and the mannerisms, the seduction style, and the relationship style. 3 of them. If you're watching this and you are a gay woman, all 4 parts of the video will apply to you. If you are a straight man, the parts that apply to you will be the relationship and love style and what you're attracted to in another person. And if you're a gay man, the parts that apply to you will be the relationship, love style, and partially the seduction style. So let's get started. When it comes to the clothing style and the mannerisms, this first part can also apply to you if you have a Gemini rising, but just the first part. So, while I was doing my research on the Venus and Gemini people, I found that a lot of them are actually models, probably because this sign makes one person really skinny, slender, and just like really slim. So yeah, a lot of them tend to be models or just to be very thin in general. And they kind of have like sharper facial features, and they have a very bright expression, bright way of expressing their femininity. Okay, a lot of them really have like kind of more breezy, light, airy clothes because Gemini is an air sign after all, and they tend to kind of prefer to wear pants and even shorts most of the time. Like Megan Fox, she I believe is a Taurus with a Venus in Gemini, and this is a very common thing that she wears. It's like jeans and a shirt, a t-shirt. They can also look really great, like Heidi Klum over here. I think she's a Gemini with a Venus in Gemini, looking really great in like sparkles and glitter, you know, because these people are just so bright and sparkly in the way that they express themselves. They can kind of pull off really bright colors as well, and a really youthful, there's like a really youthful look about them. Very fresh, youthful look. Honestly, they're kind of similar to the Venus of Aquarius, I feel, but even more so is that they don't care too much about what they wear. I mean, they tend to go with more like casual kind of clothes and just kind of more of like, they have this like girl next door look about them. Now, when it comes to the seduction style of the Venus in Gemini, there's a lot of things that is similar with the Venus in Sagittarius in a sense that their weapon of seduction is their mind. So you with a Venus in Gemini will seduce somebody by sharing your opinions, by sharing your ideas about things, by being intelligent and being smart and sharing information about what you know about everything. That's kind of like the way that you seduce. You kind of use your mind to impress other people. You also know that you are very youthful and you have a very fresh and kind of fairy-like smile, and you use that to seduce somebody. And that kind of mischievous aura that you have about you, yeah, that's very seductive. You're gonna wanna show that you have interesting everything. Interesting hobbies, interesting friends, interesting jobs, interesting mind. And you are gonna be wanting to make the person, the object of your affection, laugh. You wanna be funny, you wanna make jokes. You don't want them to be bored. You can be really good at playing with your words. That's really a thing. You can kind of like maybe engage in a bit of like a naughty talk, dirty talk. You know, you can compliment the person that you're with. You know, you use your words as a weapon here. You can even use mind games, so like real mind games, and maybe also the kind of more nasty kind of mind games. But mostly it's kind of just actual mind games like Scrabble or Words with Friends or something like that, where you and the other person are playing a game and then you have to kind of use to see, you know, a bit of a challenge and to see who can be more intellectual, who can make better use of their mind and their words. That's how you're gonna seduce someone. So if you have a Venus in Gemini, you're gonna be attracted to, you know, the mannerisms and the way of dressing of the celebrities that I showed you earlier. You know, if you have a Venus in Gemini, you're kind of like, yes, of course, you know, you would like to be with somebody who is beautiful in their own way, but it's kind of like average looking people are enough for you. You're not really aiming for somebody who's gonna look like a celebrity or something. Just an average looking person, but it must be important that they must somehow be interesting. They must have something to say. If you had to choose between a really beautiful, elegant, just sexy woman who doesn't have much to say and who's not very interesting versus an average looking woman who's got a lot of interesting things to say, then you would go for that average looking woman who is interesting. Yes, you like someone who is funny. You like someone who talks to you. You know, you like to listen to that person who knows how to communicate really well, who knows how to tell a really good and entertaining story. You like that. So the mind is what you're attracted to here, and the mind is how you can get attracted here. You like that back and forth banter, making jokes, chit chat kind of a thing. You might also be really attracted to someone who has hand skills, because Gemini does rule the arms and the hands. So if they can do things with their hands, crafts and drawings and a bit of something artistic, you kind of like that as well. And most importantly, you would be attracted to someone who can get along with your friends. That's important. Someone who is social enough and you can take out and have a good time with. Now, when it comes to the relationship and the love style of the Venus in Gemini, you, as a Venus in Gemini, like variety. That's what Gemini is, right? It's a sign of variety. Mutable air sign. So you would like to have variety within that person that you're committed to. Otherwise, you want to be able to have that freedom to search for variety somewhere else. Now, the variety that you would like to engage, a variety of activities that you would like to engage with that person, your partner, will depend on which house placements your Venus is placed in. That's going to indicate the area of life that you like to have a variety of experiences in. Yeah, Venus and Gemini people, at the lower vibration of this placement, you can be really confusing to be around or to date, because sometimes the Venus and Gemini will be kind of considering 2 people or 3 or even more people at the same time. Like, but you will come across to one person as like you are in a relationship, or you are seeing them, or you really like them, but then at the same time there's something about you that is actually not the way that you present yourselves to be, and you're kind of at the same time in your mind considering a few other people at the same time, and that kind of confuses everybody that you're considering in that moment. And also, the Venus and Gemini can be confusing in a sense that they want, for example, a lot of romance with a partner, but they don't want too much. Like, you know, Gemini is a sign of dualities. They really want that intimacy, but not too much. They really want fun and games, but not too much. So they kind of like, maybe one day will be this way, the next day will be another day. But it's really just about them having that variety, that duality, and ultimately that balance. you really, in a relationship, you really need that space with your partner where you can have pillow talk. I feel like pillow talk was invented for the Venus and Gemini. So like talking for hours on end, you know, things like that. Really being able to have that mental connection with your partner, really being able to talk about everything, really being able to talk all night. And if you with a Venus and Gemini decide that you want to commit to someone, you can be really fun and really exciting to be around, kind of like the Venus and Sagittarius, where you're like up for anything, like you would like to try anything. That's kind of also mandatory, that you get to try anything with a partner. Your routine in a relationship is really not your thing, you know? You don't want to have to feel like you're caged in. You need to be able to have the ability to explore. You also really like to tell your partner how you feel. You need someone who can do the same for you in return. So in a relationship, there's always words of love, you know, there's always lots of compliments, you know, and you tend to think about love a lot. You can also tease your partner with, you know, use words to tease your partner, be very playful. One of the really cool things about a relationship with a Venus and Gemini is that they would really like to learn new things with you. That's really like a thing for them, you know. Whether that's like you're taking a class together, whether you're dating someone who is like of a different culture and they're teaching you about their culture, whether that's like you're reading books together, you're watching documentaries together, you're discussing ideas, sharing opinions and things, you know. If you're in a relationship with a Venus and Gemini, you'll know that they will expand your knowledge of the world, of everything really. And if you're kind of not up for that, you're not up for learning everything and anything and being open to always changing your perspective of the world, then a Venus and Gemini is really not for you. Now, one of the things I really love the most about Venus and Gemini is that if you are with them, you know that they'll be up for talking to you about anything. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury, right? So a lot of people overlook Mercury in relationships, and I think the best thing about this Venus placement is that you can be sure that they're gonna be very good communicators in a relationship. And communication is really important in a relationship. Like if you're not talking and you're not communicating, what are you doing? So one of the best things about this Venus placement is that they will listen to you, your opinions and your ideas, and they will share their opinions and their ideas, and they're not closed to, you know, that kind of thing. They're open to that kind of thing, and therefore there can be a lot of understanding when you're in a relationship with a Venus and Gemini person. And also, if you are wanting someone who can be able to give you a logical advice about your life, the Venus and Gemini is very logical when it comes to love, so they can give you that kind of listening ear, but also advice. But mainly, it is the fact that communication is going to be rock solid in a relationship with a Venus and Gemini. So that's my take on the Venus and Gemini. If you have this Venus placement, comments below and let us know what your experiences have been. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below. If you've already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along with us on these astrology growth journeys, growing and learning together and having better relationships with the people around us. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye!